Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Akriti, and today we are going to solve one question of a stack from Leetcode. This is our today's question. This is the question number 503. Next, create a element 2. Okay. So this is the question. Let me read the question. We are given with a circular integer array, namely nums. Next greater element of nums of length. This is nums of 0. Okay. They are defining what actually circular integer array mean, and what we have to do, we have to return the next greater element for every element in nums. Okay. So I hope you know what is next greater element. Next greater element is the element which is greater than a particular element, which is the most nearest, you can say, element, and which is greater than. I will explain you later. Okay. What we have to do, we have to return the next greater element of each element of array nums, which is actually a circular array. Circular array means to say the last element, the next element of the last element of the array will be the first element. Okay. Like you have also studied circular linked list. Same like the linked list, we also have circular arrays. Okay. We are given a circular array nums, and we have to return the next greater element of each element of nums. Okay. Here are some examples given below, which you can refer. Like in the example number 1, we are given nums is equals to 1, 2, 1. So here you can see, as this is a circular array, so after 1 you will again find 1, 2, 1, and then 1, 2, 1. This is a circular array, so there is no end element. Okay. We can see the next greater element of 1 is 2, of course. Now 2 is the largest element in this array, so 2 will not have any greater element, or you can say any next greater element. So the next greater element of 2, we will be storing -1 in place of that, and the next greater element of this one will also be 2, because this is a circular array. So after 1 we will move to 1 and then 2, so we will find 2 is the next greater element. Okay. So there are few examples. I will be explaining you this particular example in detail, and the approach, what exactly we are going to follow to solve this question. Okay. I will be explaining you this example. Let me explain this. Okay. As you can see in that example given, this was the circular array we were given with, and we have to find the next greater element of each element in this array. What I'm going to do, I'm going to store every element x. Just look at here first of all. As I can see, let's suppose if it will be the simple array in place of the circular array, then what we will be doing, we will simply start from the last element, and we will say the last element will not have any next greater element, because this is the last element and it don't even have a next element. So how will it have a next greater element? We will be storing -1 in place of the next greater element of last element, if it was a simple array. Okay. We would be storing -1. Now I will move here in this direction from the last. Okay. So now I will move to 4. I will say the next greater 4 also don't have next greater element, because because the next element of 4 is 3, and after 3 there is no element. Okay. 4 will also have no next greater element, so we will be storing -1. Now we will move to 3. Now I will say the next greater element of 3 is 4, because 4 is greater than 3, so I will be storing here 4, and this way in place of 2 I will be storing here this and this. Okay. So that would be my answer if this is not the circular array. But now, as this is a circular array, so I cannot say that 4 and 3 have no next greater element, because we can again move in this direction and we can find for our next greater element in the previous elements also. Okay. So like for 3 I can also move in sorry, Like for 3 I can move in this direction. Now I will say I will check if 1 is greater than 3, no, I will move forward. If 2 is greater than 3, no. If 3 is greater than 3, no. If 4 is greater than, yes. So this way we were able to find the next greater element of 3, which is 4. Of course there would not be any element which is greater than 4, because the 4 is the largest element. So then we won't have next greater element for 4, and we will be storing -1 again in the case of our circular array also. But we were able to find the next greater element of 3 when we are having a circular array. Okay, so I hope you were able to see the difference between when we are having a simple array or when we have a circular array. So we cannot simply say the last element next greater element of our last element is 0, because there's no element left. Because in case of circular array we can also search from the previous element, because there is no last element. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this case, so as I'm not able to say that the 3 is the last element, and we could not find the next greater element for 3. So as you can see, for 3 we could find something. Okay, so for 3 what I'm going to do, I'm going to store the element all the element before 3 in our stack. Okay, and from this stack only we will find the next greater element for each element in our array. Okay, so for 3 in the starting this stack is empty, so, and we are going to start from the last only. Okay, so I'm going to store all these elements except the last element in my stack, so that I can find the next greater element for 3 from my stack. Okay, so I will be starting from n minus 2 index, which is 4. So I first of all I will be storing 4, and then I will be storing this 3, and then 2, and then 1. Okay, so this way I have stored all the element except our last element in this direction in my stack. Now in this stack I will find, from this stack I will find the next greater element of 3. So I'm starting from theory only. Okay. Now I will find for theory. So I will check if 1 is greater than 3 or not. If 1 is not greater than 3, I will pop my 1. Okay. Now I will check if 2 is greater than 3 or not. No, 2 is not greater than 3, so I will pop my 2 as well. Now I will check if 3 is greater than 3, so no, 3 is not greater than 3, so I will pop my 3 as well. And now if I'll check 4 is greater than 3, yes, 4 is greater than 3. So I will write in my next greater array that 4 is the next greater element of 3, and I will push my 3 into my stack. So I am pushing my 3. Now I will move to 4. Okay, now I will be checking, I will be finding the next data element for my 4. So again what I'm going to repeat the same procedure. Okay, I will be checking if 3 is greater than 4, no, 3 is not greater than 4, so simply I will pop my 3. If 4 is greater than 4, no, 4 is not greater than 4, so I will pop my 4. So now you can see in at this stage we are not left with any element in our stack. So in this case when a stack will become empty, then what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to store -1 in the next greater element of that particular element, and I will push my element into the stack. Now again I'll be checking for theory. Okay, I will check if the element at the top of the stack, which is 4, is greater than 3 or not. So yes, 4 is greater than 3. So I will put 4 in the next greater element of 3, and I will push my 3 in my stack. Okay. Now for 2, I will check if the element at the top of the stack is greater than 2 or not. So yes, 3 is greater than 2. So the next greater element of 2 is 3, and I will push my 2 in the stack. Now for 1, I will check if the element at the top of the stack is greater than 1 or not. So yes, this is greater than 1, so I will put 2 here, and I will push my 1 in a stack. So as you can see, I was able to find the next greater element for all the element in my circular array. So this was the procedure. Now let's code it. Okay, so what we were doing, first of all we have to make a stack. So simply make a stack. Let me first find the uh, length of the input array which we are given in question. So let's call it n. N is the nums dot size. This is the size of the nums which is given in the question, and now I have to declare a vector for the storing our answer. Next, greater, okay, element. In this vector, I will be storing. Fuck, this is not the vector in this. Okay, so in this vector, I will be storing the next greater element of each element in my nums array. Okay, so now I'm going to construct the stack as well. Stack, and let's call it as okay. So firstly, what I was doing, I was simply pushing these element in my stack, except for the left one. Okay, I was pushing these element from right to left. So I will be starting from n minus 2 index. Okay. So I will be starting from n minus 2 index. I should be greater than equal 0 minus minus. So except the last element, I'm storing all the remaining element in my stack first of all as the push nums of I. Okay, got it. I hope you got this line. Now what I'm going to do for each and every element, I'm going to find the next greater element for int I equal n minus 1 because I'm starting from the last element. Okay, and I should be greater than equal 0 r minus minus. So for the very last element, I will be starting from the very last element. Now I will check in my stack if the element which is at the top of the stack is greater than my particular element or not. If this is greater than my particular element, then I will be storing it in my answer vector. Otherwise I will keep pop up. Okay, otherwise I will keep popping up the element. Okay, so while either the stack become empty, or I will find that particular element which is greater than, like we can say element at the top of the stack is greater than my, okay, less than equal to my nums of I. Okay, so I'm running this loop if my stack is not empty and the element which is at the top of the stack is less than or equal to my nums of I, like the element for which I'm searching the next greater element. Okay, so if my top is less than nums of I or my stack is not empty, so I will enter this loop and I will simply pop my as dot pop the element from the stack. And if either stack become empty or I will find such element from the top of the stack which is greater than my nums of I, then I will check, then I will just store that particular element in my next greater array. But here also I need to check if my stack is empty or not. If my stack is empty, like we were not able to find any such element, then we will simply store -1. Okay, so next greater element of I equal -1, otherwise we will be storing that particular element. Okay. Element of I equal as dot top. Okay, so I hope you got this line. So if we were not able to find any element and our stack will is step has become empty, then we will be storing -1. And if we were able to find the element which was greater than my nums of I, then I'm storing that particular element, and at the end what I'm going to do, I'm going to push my nums of I instead, or which we were doing there also. I was pushing my element lastly. So here also I'm pushing nums of I, and that's it. I will be here. I will be considering some basic um, cases also. If and is zero like array is empty, then we will simply return my empty vector. Okay. Uh, and here also I will be returning my next getter element. Return next getter element. So I guess we have considered all the cases, and now let's run it. Okay, so you can see our test cases have passed, and now also our answer is accepted, and it is beating 95.80% of the users. Okay, runtime is very good. So this was the complete solution of our question. And I hope you have understood the solution well. And if you are facing any query or doubt related to the question, then feel free to ask in comment box. Thank you so much.